Hello, America. This is Call of Duty Goddess. Today is June the 4th, 2016. I'm at Fox News Politics here at an article titled State Department Admits Briefing Footage on Iran Deal Intentionally Deleted. Let's take a look at this video here.
Fox News alert now, a stunning admission from President Obama's State Department. It now says it deliberately edited out several minutes of vital footage from a 2013 briefing after it first called it a glitch.
We learned that there was a deliberate request, that this wasn't a technical glitch, this was a deliberate request to excise video. And as I said, I said it this morning to the staff, I don't find that to be an appropriate step to take.
Oh, really? But there's no investigation because everyone forgot who made the call and told everyone what to edit. That footage, which has since been restored, shows the State Department spokesperson Jen Psaki acknowledging to Fox News' James Rosen that the administration misled the press over the Iran nuclear deal.
Is it the policy of the State Department where the preservation of the secrecy of secret negotiations is concerned to lie in order to achieve that goal?
James, I think there are times where diplomacy needs privacy in order to progress. This is a good example of that.
So on that video, you saw James Rosen asking if they intentionally lied to people about the video. So let's look at a portion of the video that the State Department deleted that I think is important.
On the 6th of February in this room, I had a very brief exchange with your predecessor, Victoria Nuland, about Iran. And with your indulgence, I will read it in its entirety for the purposes of the record, and so you can respond to it. Rosen, there have been reports that intermittently and outside of the formal P5+1 mechanisms, the Obama administration, or members of it, have conducted direct, secret, bilateral talks with Iran. Is that true or false? Nuland, we have made clear, as the Vice President did at Munich, that in the context of the larger P5+1 framework, we would be prepared to talk to Iran bilaterally. But with regard to the kind of thing that you're talking about on a government-to-government level, no. That's the entirety of the exchange. As we now know, senior State Department officials had in fact been conducting direct, secret, bilateral talks with senior officials of the Iranian government in Oman, perhaps dating back to 2011 by that point. As we now know, senior State Department officials had in fact been conducting direct, secret, bilateral talks with senior officials of the Iranian government in Oman, perhaps dating back to 2011 by that point.
Well, it seems that the State Department just acknowledged and gave credibility to the assertion that the State Department has had talks with Iran since 2011 with their top officials, which would mean Hillary Clinton. I'm at an article here from European Union Times titled Clinton Injured U.S. Navy SEAL Killed in Secret U.S. Mission to Iran, and that was dated December 30th, 2012. A new foreign military intelligence report circulating in the Kremlin today is saying that the United States Secretary of State Hillary Clinton was injured and a top U.S. Navy SEAL commander killed when their C-12 Huron military passenger and transport aircraft crash-landed nearly 3 weeks ago in the Iranian city of Avaz near the Iraqi border. The U.S. Navy SEAL member reported killed in this bizarre accident, this report says, was identified as Commander Job Price, who is a leader of this highly specialized American Special Forces unit who protects high-ranking diplomats traveling in the Middle Eastern and Asian combat zones. Curiously, U.S. media reports on Commander Price's death say it is being investigated as a possible suicide, as he died from what the American Defense Department describes as a non-combat related injury. Equally as curious, U.S. media reports that State Department Hillary Clinton will return to work next week after having suffered what they describe as a nasty bout of stomach flu and a concussion, which kept her missing from the public view. the past 3 weeks. This GRU report, however, states that U.S. military flight logs recorded by Russian air and space forces confirm that Commander Price and other members of U.S. Navy SEAL Team 4 left their base in a province of Afghanistan on a flight to U.S. Navy support activity Bahrain, where they met up with Secretary Clinton, and all of them transferred to the C-12 Huron that began a flight path to Baghdad, Iraq. Within minutes of leaving Bahrain airspace, this report says the C-12 Huron, carrying Secretary Clinton and her U.S. Navy SEAL protectors without notice, deviated from their assigned flight path, heading instead directly toward Iran's Awaz International Airport, where, coincidentally, Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad had previously landed on an unscheduled visit. Important to note, GRU analysts say in this report was that the C-12 Huron entered into Iranian airspace. Neither American nor Iran Air Force units responded, clearly indicating that this secret mission was sanctioned. Upon the C-12 landing at Awaz, however, this report says it encountered extreme turbulence, causing it to leave the runway, where its main landing gear then collapsed, causing it to crash. Within seconds of the C-12 Huron crashing, this report continues, Iranian emergency and security personnel responded, freeing the victims, including Secretary of Clinton, who was reportedly unconscious and bleeding profusely. After emergency aid was given, GRU agents stationed in Iran state that another U.S. military flight was dispatched from Bahrain to Awaz, which evacuated all of those wounded and killed in the crash, including Secretary Clinton. So now that James Rosen has forced the State Department to admit to their deceit of the mainstream media, let's see if James Rosen or another mainstream media reporter can put together possibly that Hillary Clinton may have been on that plane crash just described in the previous article. Could that be possible? Will they do that? Will they admit that Commander Job Price was on the plane? It's my contention that Hillary Clinton has suffered severe brain trauma from that crash, and it wasn't from a fall in her home. So let's check out some abnormal behavior that tells me that there is some brain trauma that she suffered. For instance, when she laughed hysterically during her questioning at the Benghazi hearings.
I want to talk about a few things. Do you have a skiff in your home?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and who else was at your home? Were you alone?
I was alone, yes.
The whole night?
Well, yes, the whole night.
Well, I don't know why that's funny. I mean, did you have any in-person briefings? I don't find it funny at all.
I'm sorry, a little note of levity at 7:15.
Well, I mean, the reason I say it's not funny is because it went well into the night when our folks on the ground were still in danger. So I don't think it's funny to ask you if you were alone the whole night.
Congresswoman, you asked if I had a skiff.
Another example is when Hillary Clinton was barking like a dog at one of her rallies.
Well, we've trained this dog, and the dog, if it's not true, he's going to bark. And then the dog was barking on the radio. And so, you know, people were like barking at each other for days after that. I'm trying to figure out how we can do that with the Republicans. You know, we need to get that dog and follow them around, and every time they say these things, like, oh, you know, the Great Recession was caused by too much regulation, you know?
So, more to the point here about Hillary's health, I'm at an article from Front Page Mag titled Hillary Health Horrors. Medical experts raise red flags, question her claimed recovery from brain trauma, and that's dated January 8th, 2016. And they go on to discuss how Hillary possibly is unfit to be president and all the things that she has done on her campaign that shows that she is unable to do it. But my thing here is that President Bill Clinton is on record as saying that Hillary's injury required 6 months of very serious work to get over. To me, that is very important. So, will a mainstream media reporter come out and actually investigate this and find that plane crash did take place because of these talks has been released to the public? Will they find that Commander Job Price did not commit suicide? Do they even care? I say they don't. Here's a picture of Hillary Clinton after the plane crash receiving a little crash helmet from the State Department. Besides Hillary Clinton definitely not being fit for president, she isn't fit whether she has brain trauma or not, in my opinion. But more to the point, these talks had taken place. Before then, I think the plane may have been shot down by a man-pad that was given to the Middle East, and was given not only by the US but by France and many other countries to these Middle Eastern people who are, I believe, shooting down commercial airliners as well. Will anything happen with this? I don't think so. Or could this new revelation from James Rosen and the State Department admitting that these talks took place be a lead up to admitting that Hillary Clinton was in a plane crash because they don't want her to go to jail? Could that be it? Could it be that they say that she is unfit for jail? She's too sick to go to jail, you know, with her brain injury and all. I don't know. In this crazy world we live in, who knows? A lot of questions here. We'll just have to wait and see what happens on this. And I do realize that this is all old news. This has all been out there before. I think it needs to be rehashed, brought to people's attention just so they don't forget, since it's being rehashed and brought to people's attention that these Iran nuclear talks took place way before the State Department cared to mention. This is Call of Duty Goddess signing off, and as always, I've got your 6.